I'd like to invite Honorable Dejan Radulovic.
Good morning once again. It's a great pleasure to welcome all of you on the behalf of the Consul General of the Republic of Serbia in Chicago. It's a great pleasure to be today here, and thank you very much for inviting us, for selecting us. Serbia, my colleagues from Bulgaria and Poland. Thank you, Governor State University and College of Business for organizing of this workshop, this business meeting with us. And unfortunately, I'm not a business guy, but also unfortunately we have no some commercial trade office or section in our consulate. Because of that, I'm here. And I will try to present Serbia and as a great opportunity for the business and for the investments. Let's start with our presentation. So, good? Something's, huh? I'm doing something wrong?
On the sides.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that's good. I need to, okay, that's good. This is my first slide. You can see some general facts about the Serbia. And Serbia is a small country, you know, in the southeast of Europe, something like state of Maine in the United States. We have the same population like Bulgaria, something over of 7 million of people. And so we are not a member of the European Union. We are candidate. And we started negotiations with the European Union in 2014 and hope that we will be full member in the few years. So sometimes it's good not to be part of some big community, and I think that we are using some advantages now, especially in the economy. So you can see and some others facts about GDP. Its GDP last year was probably almost 50 billions, and also it's not euro, it's in US dollar. It's a mistake in the writing, and probably almost 6,000 US dollars GDP per capita. So also, I don't like to speak something about Serbia, our history. I suppose that you know some of our greatest scientists like Nikola Tesla and Mikhailo Pupin, who made really significant contribution to the science, not science in the US, in the science in the world. And we are so happy to have all them. Just actually, Nikola Tesla is Serb, but he is from Croatia. But all of them made great science career in this country. Next slide. Yeah. As my colleague from Poland started, all is the same. We have the same stable and proactive government, and it's very, very important, especially for the economy. And you can see that our government, especially in the past few years, tried to improve business climate in our country and to attract direct foreign investors to come in Serbia, made economic reforms, very difficult economic reforms, fiscal and budget consolidation, adopted new necessary laws, and just creating some good business climate and environment in Serbia. You need to close. Okay, now you have some info about macroeconomic background in Serbia. You can see some graphs about that. You can see this graph about the GDP growth. It's about 3%, a little bit more. Also, for example, low inflation, about 2%. You can see also other graphs, and for example, structure of the gross value, is 60% of the services, 26% of industry, and agriculture 8%. Very important, and we had really great success in attracting foreign direct investments. From 2007, we had more than $34 billion invested in Serbia. Just last year, invested more than $3 billion US. I read just a few days ago that our government now are negotiating about 54 great investment projects. Value of all projects are more than $3 billion US. So we are really expecting really more and more foreign investments in the country. You can see also the structure of the foreign investments in Serbia. It means 36% in manufacturing, 24 in financial, in insurance, 15 in the wholesale and retail. Also, you can see some of the brands and companies who are now in Serbia. As you know, US is very, very important, our economic partner also. And we have, I know that the US company invested in Serbia more than $4 billion US. We have 17,000 employees in the American companies in Serbia. Main sectors are IT and pharmacy. Some of the biggest US companies who are in Serbia are Philip Morris, NCR, Microsoft, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Ball Corporation, Cooper Tire, Johnson Controls, Oracle, and others. Also, there is American Chamber of Commerce in Serbia, established 15 years ago. Our main economic partners are from Europe, Germany, Austria, and Italy. You can see two rankings by value and ranking by number of projects. US on the second place on this ranking by value. So, new slide about the encouraging investment regime to Serbia, some tax incentives, and for example, you can see some other very, very important and very facts about the investments in Serbia. Just to say about that, how much our government made improvement concerning the business climate. It's very illustrate that right now Serbia has the position 43 on the doing business list. So just 2016, our position was 54. 3 years ago, 91. So just 1 year we jumped 11 position. It's definitely the best way to show how much the government made great progress in the creating business climate and attracting foreign investments. You can see some other very, very important facts, for example, like treaties, bilateral treaties what Serbia have with some other countries on avoiding double taxation with 58 countries, and some other funds and states funds, states grants providing for the foreign investments. So let's go to the next slide. Or something. Okay. So just to illustrate that Serbia and Serbian government provide really great opportunities for the foreign investments, especially concerning that state grants. especially in the manufacturing sector and the services sector. So just to simplify, if you're an investor and you want to make some investments in Serbia, it's necessary to apply for the grants. There is some procedure, and it's necessary from investors to provide minimum of 25% of eligible costs from their own resources. So, for example, Ministry of Economy publish open call for some investment projects. Also, it's possible to find that the open call on the website, very important development agency in Serbia. And if investors apply, what is necessary to do? Investors, it's necessary to prepare some letter of intent to the development agency of Serbia, just to explain the project, to explain all what are planning to do in Serbia. On the basis of that, Development Agency of Serbia will prepare and inform investor, potential investor, about the possible level of incentives. So you can see on this slide that it's possible to get some state grants up to 50, 60, or 70% of the eligible costs. It's so really important for the investors to encourage them to Serbia and to start the business in Serbia. So when the Development Agency of Serbia received that letter and prepare that info about the possible level of the state grants, after that, a potential investor has the period of 30 days to apply for the state grants. You can see, for example, some grants about the salary load. If you are planning to open, for example, from 10 to 99 jobs, reduction of the salary load is 70%. No customs duties. No customs duties. It means if you are planning to come to Serbia and to import equipment, machinery, raw materials, and semi-finished goods. So it's also very important for all who is planning to come there. Info about the free zones. We have 14 free zones in Serbia, and probably almost 300 companies we have in the free zones. So if it's a really great opportunity for the companies to come and to start business there. Now about free trade agreements also. It's really impressive that if you are manufacturing in Serbia, it means you have the access to the market of over 1 billion people, potential consumers, since that Serbia has free trade agreements with European Union, Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, with Turkey, and also we have Central European free trade agreement with the countries in the southeast of Europe and with European Free Trade Associations. It's 4 countries, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. Also, we have generalized system of preferences with Australia, Japan, and USA. Qualified workforce, so really educated people, specialists who are ready to fulfill all requirements of international companies who are coming in Serbia. Yearly, we have probably more than 40,000 university and two-year college graduates. And also, we have also people who are returning to Serbia to start a business, and with really top qualified experience with some international companies, especially in the IT sector. Just 2 days ago in my country, one of the biggest German multinational company, Continental, opened a research and development center in Serbia. This company, this multinational company, have more than 40,000 employees. And we are so happy to have them also in Serbia. For example, if we are talking about the language, it's normally to know and to speak the English language. Just to explain that the children in Serbia are starting to learn English language at the first grade of elementary school, and the second language in the 5th grade. And because of that, probably more people, really, a lot of people speak English language and other language like German, Russian, and French. You can see some main sectors of the potential cooperation: infrastructure, agriculture and food industry, textile industry, services, IT sector, tourism, and culture. Yeah. So this is my presentation for you prepared. So, but this is not the end of my presentation, since that I prepared one more presentation. It's a great short video about all, just to remind once more today about that, and just to say that it's really good if someone wants to start some economic ties with Serbia, to make some business in Serbia, to visit Consulate and to present idea, initiative. It's really good to start with the Consulate, since that we have a direct communication with the Chamber of Commerce of Serbia and the Development Agency of Serbia. We have no that commercial trade section, but we are able to answer to all questions people who are interested to make the business in Serbia. Once again, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you very much for inviting us, and it was a great pleasure to be part of this event. And just a few minutes more for the great video about Serbia. Why invest in Serbia? Thank you so much.
Resource-rich, attractively located, an infrastructurally developed country with business-friendly legislation, efficient administration, and a skilled workforce. That's Serbia, an investment haven by definition. Today, Serbia is a stable democracy with a strong reforms-driven government, advancing towards EU membership and attracting many big business players from around the world. Many reputable global companies have already recognized the advantages of investing in Serbia, which include competitive operating costs, customs-free access to 1.1 billion consumers, financial benefits and incentives provided by the government that proactively support foreign investors. On the shores of the Danube River, only 14 kilometers from the capital city of Belgrade, there are the remains of the oldest Neolithic civilization in Europe, Vinča culture, which proves that technological progress in this part of the world dates back to 7,000 years BC. Nowadays, cutting-edge technologies feel at home in Serbia. There are 1,600 innovative IT companies employing 14,000 people, and the potential is much higher yet. Microsoft opened its 4th development center here, and over time it evolved into an innovation center. Thanks to an exceptionally strong engineering education system, Serbia is an outstanding pool of intellectual capital and attractive labor costs in ICT. Currently, Serbia ranks 40th on the list of biggest software exporters globally. ICT is becoming one of the pillars of the national economy, along with food production and the automotive industry. Speaking of automotive industry, Serbia has more than 70 years of tradition in motor vehicle production. Today, there are around 60 international investors, which have invested more than 1.7 billion in the sector so far, and there is room for more. Fiat is not only the largest investor, but also the biggest exporter from Serbia, generating 1.4 billion euros of turnover, the majority of which was exported to the US and EU markets. We have also mentioned food already. While Serbian soil is still one of the cleanest in Europe, the agro-food sector accounts for a massive proportion of direct investments and records a trade surplus thanks to an excellent raw material base and long tradition of high-quality food production and strong regional brands. Made in Serbia products are present around the globe, being sold under Serbian brands through the largest supermarket chains. Serbian law prohibits the production and import of any GMO foods and seeds. Serbia has the potential to become the preferred country for foreign investments in the wood and furniture sector, thanks to the fact that forests cover some 2,252,400 acres of its territory. Serbia provides top-quality raw-based materials. The wood processing industry contributes up to 5.7% of total export from Serbia, with an ongoing positive growth trend. Serbia has a duty-free export access to Russian, EU and SEE markets. Machine building is one of Serbia's core industries, with the richest manufacturing history dating back to 1853. With highly skilled workers and low labour costs, this sector is strongly export-orientated, offering internationally acknowledged quality and competitive prices. Quick and easy access to the key markets, EU, SEE and Middle East, also helps, as well as free trade agreements with Russia and Turkey. Serbia is perfectly tailored for investments in textile and apparel production. This sector, with a long-standing tradition, used to employ more than 250,000 workers and exported more than $5 billion. Nowadays, there are around 1,800 active companies with more than 43,000 employees. Many world-renowned fashion brands are using production facilities in Serbia as secondary manufacturing sites for the production of high-quality apparel. It had its golden age back in the 1970s and 1980s, but now again there is a growing interest for investments in the diversified chemical industry in Serbia, particularly in rubber, plastics, pharmaceutical and base chemical sectors. With around €4 billion turnover, this industry is still far from achieving its full potential for export-led growth. Each sector of the Serbian economy offers specific opportunities. All of them benefit from the general pro-investment climate. Competing for investors, many municipalities are offering the possibility of operating within designated industrial zones. There are 14 free trade zones in Serbia, meaning free of VAT, customs and clearance. 220 multinational companies are already using the advantages of these free zones. Apart from the lowest corporate tax rates in Europe, 15%, Serbia has prepared a package of financial support for investors. Incentives can be awarded for investment projects in the manufacturing, but also in the service sector, if it is orientated towards international trade. Last but not least, business in Serbia goes hand in hand with pleasure. Here you can work hard and play even harder. Beautiful nature, friendly people, rich history and culture, superior cuisine, vibrant lifestyle. They all make Serbia a great destination for more than just investments.
My name is Peter Seutz, and I'm with a company in Addison, Illinois called Medgyne Products. And I'm headed out next week to Eastern Europe, in fact, Poland, Bulgaria, Romania. But I'm working with Serbia as well. My question to you, sir, is you talked about free trade. That's not quite the same as no hindrance. Our products are medical products, and we need to register a product in Serbia in order to be able to sell it through our distributors. Why is FDA and CE not sufficient?
So, concerning the, concerning the free trade agreement, you know, there are some requirements. it's necessary to manufacturing and products in Serbia, and all depends on the concrete case. But it's necessary to, for example, more than 50% of the product will be manufacturing in Serbia to be eligible to export to some other countries where we have the free trade agreements. It is not necessary to bring some products or final products to Serbia and to use them on the basis of the free trade agreements. It's possible to, it's necessary to bring, it's possible to bring some finished, finalized products, but final product must be manufacturing in Serbia.
Thank you.
Okay, again, with regards to Serbia, in your presentation and in the beautiful video.
Oh, thank you so much. It's
And
great.
does everyone in Serbia speak with such a beautiful British accent? But you speak a lot about the incentives. Will that change if Serbia or when Serbia joins the European Union? Would you still be able to give these incentives?
Oh, so I'm not sure for that. Maybe, yeah, but I think that it's necessary to make some change. Probably my colleague from Bulgaria can explain what kind of the changes, but definitely, as I said, now we are using some great opportunity to be just in front of the door of the European Union and to encourage foreign investors to come to Serbia and to provide them more state funds, more state grants to encourage to invest in Serbia. You know, we had, all of you, you know that we had a really terrible time in our recent history, that region, especially during the period of disintegration of Serbia. I'm so happy that is the history of our region. I hope that will be definitely history of our region. And because of that, I think that definitely we will be changing concerning that. But now we are using all our possible opportunities and to provide and attract investors in Serbia. Since that we had really bad economy in probably almost 20 years, from 90s, and so because of that. But definitely in the past few years, we have made really a great progress, especially in encouraging the foreign investments. And because of that, definitely now we are preparing for the European Union, and we need to respect the regulations and all standards from the European Union and fulfill all just when we are entering, when we will be full member of European Union. Probably it means that we have more than few years to make some our policy a little bit great for us and to improve our economy and to prepare for the entry to the European Union. Theodora, if you have something here.
Basically, now I make you a short course, how to be accepted in European Union. And the course is like this. You have 29 chapters, and all these chapters you have to negotiate with the European Union. It's starting from the agricultural policy, ending with financial stuff and services. So I will give you one example only. In European Union, there is a regulation which says that we cannot provide a state aid to a specific company. So, for example, the state aid, in the way, financial state aid, I mean, you cannot provide. So whether you are giving this as an incentive, for us is also state aid. So I think that probably they have to align a little bit their regulations with this of the European Union when they accept it. Currently, we are talking for a time period like 2021 earliest, for example. So I think there is still time how they can do it. But and also just to touch base your question, FDA, yes, That's a good question, and it's a good question also for us. For example, FDA does not accept some of the European documents here in USA, speaking about, for example, food specification or medical stuff or whatever. So that, what I says, the free trade agreement is, if you have this recognition of the national standards, this usually is into the free trade agreement, which is not the case between USA and Europe. You have this kind of small burdens, let's say, because you have to go, for example, into the European agency and to take documents that you're eligible to sell into the European Union. And if this was recognized within a free trade agreement, this wouldn't be the case now. And now we have to go to the FDA, for example, the European products, to take registration, to get to import, and you have to go to the European agency to do so. So this wouldn't be the case if we had the free trade agreement, which will recognize the national standards. Thank you.
At the back.
Yes, Robert Pine with Frigid Fluid, and my question actually kind of combines the two prior questions. One of our product lines is in chemicals, and so looking at Serbia, which is not a member of the EU, we have a lot of complications with the EU, both at the EU level, and then part of those regulations devolve down to member states, who then have their own rights with regard to registration of product. So non-EU countries that we've worked with don't have these types of regulations. So we can talk about this later, what it is. So we could do business in Serbia, but then the question is, when Serbia, if it does become a member of the EU, is there any grandfathering or anything that would look favorably on a company that already is doing business in Serbia that suddenly effectively would be immediately banned from doing business as soon as you join the EU? So you can see it's both what happens when you join the EU, as well as the gentleman's question about respect for certain registrations of various products outside the EU, or suddenly become registratable or restricted.
Who has to answer this question? I will just ask something before you. I'm not aware of any case of business that has been banned in any of the countries of the European Union after accession to the European Union. I personally am not aware in any case.
Okay, but so what you're saying is, if you're already doing business there, and now the EU registration requirements and regulations require certain things that could be extraordinarily expensive or prohibitive based upon their structure, they would be grandfathered in? Or would you have to now meet those new EU registrations and regulatory requirements that did not exist before a country joined the EU?
I will let my colleague from Serbia to explain, but I can tell you that applying the European law, it doesn't happen in one night. It never happens in one night. It's usually a process that takes many years, and always national standards take into account the national needs of the country. So you not directly apply the European law as it is, but you kind of go through the eyes of the national economy and see what fits to you. Basically, you have to have the frame, but you can a little bit change it. So this goes over a few years, and the regulations starting from the primary, secondary, are implemented years after that. So this doesn't happen at once, and I don't know, there is a lot of businesses, especially in the area of chemicals. Our area is very famous with the chemical production. It's not only Serbia, but all other area. And I've never heard that the company which is producing chemicals have left any of the countries because it became a member of the EU.
May I? Yes, sure.
You're the last.
Well,
If I can add,
You two guys are already in the EU, so it's irrelevant in that regard.
but let me try to explain it from the legal point of view, because this question is more legal than economic questions, and I happen to have a law degree, so I think I know how it works. So you're asking if you are grandfather with your rights already, if you come to a country that is aspiring to become a member of European Union. So the process of the country who is applying to become a EU member is, from what I remember, because Poland joined in 2004, is that first you have to change your own regulations, and then you become a member of European Union. Once you become a European Union member, all the laws of European Union applies directly. So if you happen to be investor in a country that is aspiring to become a European Union member, then first you have to adjust accordingly before they even join. So there are no surprises for investors who are already in those countries, because they have to change before they join, not after they join. So nothing will happen rapidly, from my understanding. So there were investors who were in Poland before 2004, and they had to adjust to a new legislation. The new legislation passed in Poland before we joined the European Union, not after. If that
That makes sense, Piotr. That makes sense. Yes. So
Like explained my colleagues from Bulgaria and Poland, now we are negotiating with the European Union. Our obligation is to harmonize all our regulation, all our laws with the standards and the regulation of the European Union. We are preparing to be in a few years of the full member of that European community. Because of that, it's very important that to know that we cannot do something what it will be difficult and obstacle for the investors, and to create some conditions what will be very difficult for the investors who are in Serbia. So because of that, I think there is no any obstacle, something that will be clear for the investors to come in Serbia, what will be happen after that. So I know that sometimes when I want to bring some big investors in Serbia, to make some big investments in Serbia, especially with some very important sectors for the European Union, we need to make consultation with the relevant authorities in European Union about the possibilities how to do it. Because of that, I think there is no any reason to think or about that, what will be happen after that. So Serbia and other countries are preparing to be European Union, and if someone start the business in Serbia, there is no any reason to think about that. That will be some ban concerning that business. It's very important. I think that only thing what some investors, some business people is it's necessary to think about the profit, about the business. It's possible to have a business in European Union, and at one time and wants to have no reason to have some more business there. Because of that, I think there is no any obstacle to come in Serbia and to start business in this period. Thank you so much for your question.
Yeah, those were some excellent questions, excellent responses, excellent presentations. Okay, one more. It's time for, one more.
If I may just add to what this gentleman was asking about, I have a concrete example of Croatia, because we sold a finished product to Zagreb in Croatia before it became an EU member, July 1st, 14 or so. It had FDA approval, but it did not have CE. So on July 1st, the gate went down on that product because it did not have CE. And then the whole rigmarole on CE applications and the notified bodies and their cartel or whatever it is, it's very, very controlled. That's a whole different issue.
yeah, and if I may add, the EU's, as I mentioned, our situation is twofold. There's the big EU registration, and we can talk in detail on this if you want later, which we know how to handle. But then a major part of that devolves down to each member state, allowing it to increase or add additional regulation for within their country. And these range from very simple, no cost in Germany, to highly protective, almost an embargo type of thing it's so difficult to do in France, for the same product.